Hello guys, I have some very cool information for you now that you might be useful for you. So, I noticed that when I did 1.5 years ago, I did a 4.5 day water fast where you only drink water and you have a little bit of electrolytes. That's it. Like 4.5 days. After 3 days, you get the immune system reset, the stem cell release, the autophagy, all of that, those fasting benefits. So, but then I noticed that my cortisol was spiking and my sleep was getting really bad. So that's why I broke the fast. And then I noticed something else that 6 months after the fast, like from the moment of the fast until 6 months, I had almost zero earwax, like zero earwax. And I could even eat a little bit of weed or sugary stuff or milk stuff, milk products, and I still would have very little earwax. And then I thought, okay, I'm just gonna eat normal again, normal in quotation marks. And I started to eat more wheat products again, and then slowly the earwax came back. And since about a month, I don't eat milk products. I don't eat, so not even cheese, nothing, no, not even goat cheese, nothing of that sort. I don't eat anything sugary, and I don't eat, so no sugar, no wheat, no milk products, and no wheat. So basically these three things: no sugar, no milk products, no wheat products. And my earwax was kind of okayish. And normally, if I would eat enough of these, I would have a little bit problems around my beard. And yesterday, some very nice people from Argentina sold me cookies, and they were like homemade, etc. And so I could sense that they were done with a lot of love. So I was like, I'm gonna have those. And I wanted to eat maximum of one cookie, but because I've been so sugar starved for so long, I ate all three cookies. But then I woke up at night, and my earwax was there was enough, and there was like it was fluid. It was like a liquid. And I knew this is not a good sign. It was inflammation again. And interestingly enough, so what I found out by working by testing it is that earwax for me seems to be a high indicator of like an inflammation marker for my body. And I do have the theory that if your earwax is constantly signaling to you that you're inflamed, that it actually starts to build plaque as arteriosclerosis, meaning that your arteries are starting to get inflamed and then plaque begins. That's my hypothesis. I don't have scientific proof for this, but interestingly also is my dad used to have a dog, and when he had his dog, he would sometimes give him something off the table, and he would love like white bread. But every time he received white bread, he would start to scratch his ears like crazy. Not with other things, just the white bread. So it must have been the wheat, the gluten, or whatever it was. By the way, I'm not gluten intolerant. I don't have that problem. But a lot of people don't know that most wheat nowadays has 50% gluten, where when in the past it only had 15% gluten. So it grew by 3 times the amount of gluten in wheat. So that's also something to consider. So that is a major thing on health. Now, the other thing about health is, of course, you want to drink enough water and all these stuff. We could make a whole video on what is good for health. What is really important is keeping your Ida and Pingala nadi clean. And for that, it's really good to do these exercises where you stretch your back, like arch your back, and then breathe in, hold it, and then slowly release it. And notice what it does to the openings of your nose and how those pathways are getting cleared. So you do that 5 times. And you will start to see that your whole energy system gets cleared slowly, and by monitoring basically how you breathe and seeing how free this area is or not. So this is super interesting. Like, there's many small things you can look for in health that are extremely overlooked, and those two things that I give you right now are very much overlooked. Now, in yoga, you basically work a lot the Ida Pingala, the left energy channel, the right energy channel, and you can do like tons of exercises for those. But this stretching is one of the fastest, most powerful ones if you combine it with the breathing. So again, the idea is really that you stretch your back, like arch it, breathe in very deeply, hold it, even feel yourself still expanding, and then slowly start to release it. Especially in the mornings is also good because your whole system gets activated. And interestingly enough, if you look at dogs, they're doing the same thing in the morning. They're like stretching themselves a little bit, like with their feet. I don't know about your dog, but that dog did it for at least. So, and it does work. And if you're interested, I can make more videos about this because of my ability to sense the nadis and the chakras, I can give you like exactly what you need to do in order to be low inflamed. And yeah, and one thing is really, really important. After eating, you should usually take a walk. It reduces insulin resistance. By the way, anything that bumps uh, your glycemic index, like anything that's glycemic to you, like whatever like sugary type of stuff you can eat that boosts your blood sugar, you usually want to avoid that. The less you have of it, the better. There are some things which I eat which do that. For example, raw honey. But you can. There's possibilities to like reduce it with, for example, avocado, cinnamon. There's ways to kind of like calibrate that a little bit, but this kind of like this basic industrial wheat or wheat in general, I would completely avoid, and it needs tremendous discipline because, for example, here in Tarifa, there's a pasteleria, like a French one, like a brasserie, pâtisserie, and they make very like nice stuff, but it's really bad for health. It's like really bad for health. And one thing that I noticed the last few years, because more and more people are buying this white bread, whether from Lidl, whether from patisserie. I noticed this in France as well. People have really bad skin and they seem much older than they are. Some people look 10 years older. I think it comes from this constant inflammation from alcohol and wheat products. So I would completely avoid those. And I learned this very late in my life. And so no milk products whatsoever, no wheat, and no sugar. And try to keep fructose low. You don't need like 10 fruits a day. This whole idea of fruitarian diet, I'm not a big believer in it. Because, for example, Steve Jobs was a fruitarian, and in the end he got pancreatic cancer, which pancreas is responsible for the insulin response. So, I mean, there's other parts to it, like, for example, how joyful you are in life. Can you accept and receive the sweetness of life, and those emotional, spiritual things are also important, but it's of course a mix of things. Because, of course, if you emotionally lack somewhere, you're probably gonna try to compensate that in food because it's so much easier to get it in food. Yeah, so I'm just gonna leave it at that. If you're interested, I can make like more videos around this topic. But I wanted to specifically single out right now the issue of the earwax and how that is a good indicator of whether your body is inflamed or not.